have my little assistant Sebastian here today. Say hello! Are you going to smile for everyone? Because every time there's a video, you always are grumpy. Well, he's not really grumpy, he's just like, what's going on? What are you talking about? Anyway, so today I'm going to talk to you about washing cloth nappies and where does all that poo go? The amount of times people who are asking me about cloth nappies, the first thing they'll say is, well, what about the poo? You know, you can't just put the poo in the washing machine. So I'm going to talk to you all about washing the nappies, about the poo, and I'm also going to show you how I wash my nappies as well. And another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I dry my nappies, because I don't actually have a tumble dryer. And it was actually MsDiaperD that asked this question because she had her tumble dryer had broken, and it's actually very common here in Europe that not very many people have tumble dryers. So this video is kind of for her really, as well as anyone else who is wondering. And I also would like to congratulate you, Dana, on the birth of your gorgeous daughter Daisy. She's absolutely beautiful, and I hope that it all went well, and looking forward to hearing all about it. If you don't watch MsDiaperD, I suggest you do. She's my kind of cloth nappy guru, the first person that I watched when I was learning about cloth nappies. So I'll put her link in the description bar, and you can go to her channel there. Okay, so when you first have your little newborn, the first poo that you are going to encounter is something called Meconium, and this is a kind of all the kind of umbilical fluid. Is it the umbilical fluid that they've swallowed? And all that is going to collect in their belly, and it comes out, it's their first poo, and it comes out black like tar. It looks like tar. It's incredibly thick and black and so sticky. It's so sticky. It's a bit of a misconception that babies who, that Meconium doesn't come off cloth nappies, and that's not true. Meconium does come off cloth nappies, and if you're concerned about it, then it might be worth perhaps putting in a disposable liner or a fleece liner if you're worried. But a lot of people that I know have never had a problem with dealing with Meconium. So after that, your baby, up until about 6 months, sometimes 4 months, will be just on milk, whether it be breastfed or formula fed. Now, I originally thought that formula fed poo had to be rinsed off, or it wasn't water soluble. I've since found out that's not true. Breastfed and formula fed poo is water soluble. That means that you can literally, if they've pooed in the nappy, you can take the whole nappy, close it up, and just put it straight in the pail liner. And then that whole nappy with the poo and everything can go straight in the bin, because it's in the wash, because it will just dissolve in the water, and it will just wash away nicely. When they start weaning, now another thing, just quickly, you can use a liner, but one thing I found is that a paper liner, is that the paper just doesn't, because it's so runny, it just is pointless. You end up making more mess than need be. But one thing I would suggest is using a fleece liner. Now, I use fleece liners in all my nappies, because what the fleece does is it wicks away moisture, so it keeps the baby dry, as well as the poo will go on there first, meaning that you won't get any staining on your nappies. But you don't have to do that. You can just let them poo in the nappy, and that's fine. If you do find that after you've washed them they are stained, put them in the sun. They will bleach. The sun is an amazing bleach. Even if it's not sunny, even if it's just cloudy, they'll still get the UV rays, and any stains will bleach out, including your clothes. If you ever have any stains in your light clothes, just put it in the sun and it'll bleach out. So then they're going to get to the stage where they're starting to wean, so they're only eating a few bits, but they're not fully weaned yet. Now, this poo is not very nice. It's like peanut butter sticky poo. I've not actually obviously had it with Seb. Sebastian's not weaning yet, but I have experienced this type of nappy with friends' children, and it's not nice. So we're going to come to a bit of a crossroads at that point, because I'm not sure how we're going to deal with it, but I know that the way that people do deal with it is that they line it. Is someone home? I think my husband's home. Is that they line it with fleece, and then they just either rinse it off in the sink or in the toilet, or they might use a disposable liner. Because it's mixed with milk, you might find that the bits don't it's kind of runny and bitty, if that makes sense. So the disposable liner will probably catch all the bits, and you may find that with the fleece, you can just put the bits in the toilet, or even some people get a tissue, or some people have a poo spoon or a poo scraper that they just scrape off and put in the loo, and then the rest of it goes in the pail. But I think what we're going to do is use a mixture of disposable and just get some tissue, or a friend of mine suggested using a wooden spatula, which is quite a good idea. So just scrape it off and then just clean that with a tissue. And then the same goes with their bums. You can just use a bit of tissue to clean their bums, and then use the cloth wipes if you're using cloth wipes. It's a bit of a sticky one because obviously they're kind of really in between, so, and as well if they're teething, then their poos are just going to be horrendous. His already are. But then when they're fully weaned, that's when cloth napping becomes really, really easy, because fully weaned poo is just like normal poo. It comes out like a ball, and you can literally just plop it in the toilet, no stains or anything. And any residue stains can just be washed. So in that case, you can just use a disposable liner, because the poo shouldn't be runny, so you could just lift it up and put it in the toilet, or a fleece liner where you can just plop it in as well. So it's really kind of up to you. Cloth napping becomes so much easier at that stage. So I'm now going to go down and show you my washing routine. I'm going to put some nappies on the wash at the moment, and let you see how we kind of, the powders and detergents I use, and the way we dry things. Okay guys, so if you can hear Sebastian in the background, or hear the telly in the background, it's because Sebastian's watching the television. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, I've got my pail here. This is a Smarty Pants pail. It's not as good as my Planet Wise. I definitely would recommend getting the Planet Wise if you can. But what I'm literally going to do is open the door. I don't even know if you can see me. Should we turn it this way? And I am going to just take the whole pail and turn it kind of inside out. This one's not, like I said, it's not as good as the Planet Wise, and just push everything in like so, without actually touching anything, and just leaving the wet bag in. Okay, so this is the fabric softener. This is the detergent that I use. This is Bold 2-in-1. Now, just so you know, it's only really in the UK that we don't use that, or we have non-biological washing powder. In majority of countries, they don't really have that. In majority of countries, it's actually biological. The UK is only one of the few. So a lot of people do use like ordinary Ariel or ordinary biological washing powder for their nappies. That's absolutely fine. You won't have to worry about sensitive skin issues, or you shouldn't do anyway, because you do a lot of extra rinses with the nappy, and you don't use as much of the powder either, depending on your water. Also, another thing you should not use is fabric softener, and I'll get to why I'm using this one in a minute, but you do not use fabric softener on cloth nappies, because what that will do is it will affect and destroy your nappies. It will affect the absorbency. So don't use fabric softener, just use detergent. The reason I'm using 2-in-1 Bold with the fabric softener is that the fabric softener in this is clay based. So on the side it says zeolites. And if it says zeolites, then you know that the softener in it is clay based, and that is safe for nappies. However, any other type of softener is not safe for nappies at all. So this is why Bold 2-in-1 is a very common and effective washing up detergent for nappies. Okay, I live in a really hard water area, so it should tell you the kind of scoops. I use a full dose of powder. Okay, so here you can see I'm using a really good full dose of powder. I'm going by what says on the box. They say you should only use half your detergent or half the recommended amount, and you can just use half the recommended amount. I live in a very hard water area, so the harder your water, the more detergent you need to use. I actually use a full dose because I rinse a lot afterwards. Provided that you rinse, it doesn't matter how much you use, as long as you make sure you rinse, because otherwise you will get what's called build up of detergent within the nappies, and that will cause repelling, which will affect the absorbency, and then you will have to strip them. So that's another video that I'm going to talk about stripping nappies, but that will be afterwards. So I'm going to open up the tray, and I'm going to put the detergent in the tray. I think it's supposed to go in the middle one, but I've always put it in that one. Okay, so what I have here is, what I normally do is I put it on number 2. I'll just turn it on the wall. I put it on number 2, and number 2 is 60 pre-wash. So that's number 2. Now, the pre-wash on a washing machine is usually a hot wash, so you may find that the initial pre-wash, or it's actually a pre-rinse, may set stains in the nappy, though I have never had this problem. So if you're worried about staining, and even if you do get staining, like I said, it can be bleached out in the sun, then just do an ordinary rinse first, and then a normal 60-degree plain wash. You can either use 60 degrees or 40 degrees. Companies don't recommend 60 like Bum Genius, they recommend 40. However, I wash all my nappies on 60. I think that if you wash them on 40, I have had that they've washed fine, but in time they start to smell. I personally think you need, you're dealing with poo, you need to get a good hot wash. As long as it's 60, it will not affect the PUL. I've never had problems with it affecting my PUL, and I know hundreds of other people who cloth nappy and they all use 60 degrees. Okay, so then what I would do is I would press start, and then I would click extra rinse to go with that. So that means that I'm going to be doing a rinse, a wash on 60, and then an extra rinse. And then depending on how I'm feeling at the end, I might come back and do another rinse. So every now and then you want to clean out your washing machine. And the way that I like to clean out my washing machine is to use soda crystals. And what that will do is you just put them in, and then you just put it on a really hot wash, and that will just clean all your washing machine. And also, if there's any detergent residue left in there, it will get rid of all of that. So that's worth doing kind of once a month. I do mine once a month, just to make sure there's no residue kind of washing up liquid in there. Okay, so Dana MsDiaperD wondered how I dry my nappies when I don't have a tumble dryer. Now, I've got loads of random things kind of just propped up here, but normally I dry them on two of these racks. I have a heated one and a normal one, and they are more than enough. I can use my clothes on one, and then the other one I use for my nappies. I also have, if I move this out of the way, this, which is like an extension that goes on the radiator, and I've got them all around the house, so I can put plenty of nappies along there. In fact, I could do all my nappies on just these around the house, and then leave these just for the clothes. And I also have up here one of these like underwear hangers. They are fantastic for hanging up your boosters. They are really, really good for that. They dry really quickly for some reason on here. Now, another thing that she wondered is this thing that you can get. We've got them lots in the UK, and it's something that you would put up on the wall, and it's got four, 5 strings attached, and you pull it across and hook it, and then you've basically got a washing line up there. I'll enclose a picture and a link to one of those. If you find you've got limited space, that goes really well above the bathroom. So that's how I dry all my nappies.